This is part 1 of 5 of the reasons why I'm moving abroad as a single mom. Number 1 reason is the cost of living. Where I live, it has become incredibly expensive to maintain a roof over the head with one income. And even though I was kind of doing like door dashing and Uber Eats, things like that, I had a little small business where I would sell, at different like little festivals and things. It just was not enough to maintain. So just to kind of give you an idea, I created this right here. So these are actually current numbers that I pulled up today. So we're looking right now, I took the middle of what's the range of what the rent is right now for like a 2-bedroom apartment. That way, I get a room, my child gets a room, we all have space. I'm not sleeping on the couch uncomfortably with my back or anything. So it's reasonable to have a bedroom for each of us. And so this is what it would cost. Not only that, but then you have to keep in mind that the majority of places also require 3 times, 2.5 to 3 times the amount of proof times that amount. So even if it was like $2,700, I'd have to show that I made at least $8,100 a month to get into the majority of places anyhow. Electricity, I took the numbers from today, what the average is. So these are all current numbers that we're looking at. The water, I know this is like my personal phone bill, but this is how high it is. I have the phone and like iPad, and I have insurance, Netflix, all these different things come through in this phone bill. And so that's really high. Groceries, I had actually put down like $425, but looking at the current range, I was going lower, and I don't even purchase that much in groceries. I couldn't afford that either. So, but if you're looking at it, about $550, and I did this for 1 adult and then 1 child. Dining out, about $100. I don't really do that, but I do occasionally eat out, but not up to that much. Looking at kind of personal care and household goods, that's what I estimated. That's also what it said is about accurate there. Gas, $280 if I want to keep a full tank for how much I drive, and I don't do that, so I kind of really calculate where I need to go, because that's quite a bit of money there. Car insurance, that's my exact car insurance, $182. $200, that's about what I pay for my health care through my job. $75, that's what I pay in like different services and everything for my daughter's homeschooling. About $100 there for entertainment. Then I have like different digital products and services, subscriptions. That's my real IRS payment of $50 a month, and my real student loan payment of $97. If I could save an emergency amount, which I don't, it would be about $300 or so about $150 from each check, which is a reasonable amount. So we're looking at about $5,349. Now take into account the average person. Minimum wage in Seattle is $21.30. So we're grossing, people are grossing about $3,600 or so. But you take out taxes, insurance, things like that, it's like $2,800. So that's way below to begin with. So you definitely would have to have another job, some sort of full-time job to make up for it. And then again, you don't even cut being able to get the rent unless you get into a program. And what I think that people don't understand is that a lot of like subsidized housing programs have waits, years and years. I've seen 12-year waits. Because people, once they're in there, they don't want to go. And then honestly, how long are you going to be able to rely on the longevity of these type of programs? So, it's a long wait. Things like Section 8 and stuff are like, a lot of them are closed, wait lists and everything. So you can't really rely on that. So already kind of starting under. So when I think about this fresh start that I was forced to be in when we had to move into our vehicle, I'm looking at this. Am I going to chase this amount? At what cost? Physically, mentally, to not being able to parent my daughter, so it's kind of like, is that worth the sacrifice? But that's the amount we're looking at. So, if you're not making this kind of money as a single parent, don't feel shamed. These are kind of outrageous amounts to pay for things. It doesn't make a lot of sense. So I just want to kind of give you an idea of at least where I'm living, what it looks like. Something else that I wanted to say also is that I do actually have a full-time job. So when I mentioned like DoorDash, Uber Eats, and the things I was doing before we moved into our vehicle, I actually had and have had and maintained a full-time regular job also for the past, this current job is remote. That was a work-life balance thing that I had to have, that if I was going to work, then I needed to be around for my child. But so that's working a full-time job, adding on these side hustles, putting time into creating products to sell at different festivals and events, and still just not kind of breaking those amounts. So maybe this used to be a place where it was possible with one income to have a place to support your family. Things have definitely changed quite a bit. And then you just run yourself ragged trying to keep up with it all. Multiple jobs, not taking days off, so it just becomes a bit much after a while and, wears down. There were effects to that physically, not getting enough sleep, constantly staying in a state of survival. Mentally it wears you down as well. So it just kind of zaps all of the energy out, and not a place where I want to continue to stay. If you want to hear more, check out my page for part 2.